Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. You are listening to Seema Khan on Seema Khan Life Vlogs. Welcome everyone. This is a live broadcast from London, and the topic for discussion today is nurturing Iman in your children. So today we are going to focus on the human brain. So I'm just going to go through with you the three sections. So we're going to divide it into three sections today, because we've got a lot to cover. So welcome everybody who's joining in today. We are going to be looking at, firstly, what does Islam say about the three stages of parenting? We'll look at the impact of the brain, the prefrontal cortex in particular, because that is where human beings, that's the speciality of human beings, and that will help us in our parenting skills. And we'll also be looking in the third part at tips for nurturing Iman in children. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me. My name is Seema Khan and you're listening to Seema Khan Life Vlogs. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to be looking at what does Islam say about the three stages of parenting. Now, why is parenting so important in the first place? Well, a lot of the comments that I've got from viewers, friends, and colleagues is that parenting has now become one of the key and vital issues that is a matter of concern for people. People, especially in the Islamic community and Indian subcontinent in our culture, are very, very concerned um, as to whether they're doing the right thing, whether they're actually parenting correctly or not. The the kind of like on the ground, what people have said to me is that basically for them, it's a situation where either they feel that they're being too harsh or either they feel that they're being too lenient. So today I hope to kind of like give everybody a kind of insight as to how Islam's guidelines kind of give us a comfort as to what would be the golden middle path of parenting and how we might actually be able to give ourselves a little bit peace in this area. Now, um, we will not always get complete peace in this area, because what we do need to remember always is that um, the parenting itself from the Islamic point of view is actually meant to be a fitna, a trial for us. So आज मैं ये भी कोशिश करूँगी कि थोड़ी बहुत हम ना उर्दू में भी बात करें. A lot of people ask that can you please put some Urdu explanations in as well. A lot of the viewers, I do salam to all of yous in Saudi Arabia, in India, in Pakistan, in Qatar, in Jeddah, all the places that are watching across the pond in New York, Australia, everybody who's watching today, thank you for joining in. So, what is the key issue about the three stages of parenting? Well, what Islam says is that when you are parenting your children, the way that you've kind of got to look at it is that you divide their kind of childhood into three stages. And this is actually in a hadith from the Prophet, peace be upon him, because the bringing up of a child has been divided into three stages from age 0 to 7, and that age is regarded as what you would call the age of play. So you may have heard अक्सर like I think Maulana Tariq Jamil has often given lectures on बच्चों को जब वो छोटे होते हैं, age 1 से लेके 0 से rather लेके 7 तक, राइट. उनको बस अपने कलेजे के साथ रखो, उनकी क्या ज़रूरतें हैं, उनकी क्या पूरी हैं, उनको बस प्यार और मोहब्बत और ख्याल रखना है उस वक्त चाहिए होती है, राइट. So that's the first stage. Then the second stage goes from ages 7 to 14. तो इसमें ये होता है कि ये third stage of the life होती है. इसको in the hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the child is the master for 7 years and a slave for 7 years and a vizier for 7 years. So if he grows into a good character within 21 years, well and good. Otherwise, leave him alone because you have discharged your responsibility before Allah. So इसमें क्यों ये कहते हैं? Because the second stage between ages 7 to 14, which are, I know you're all, the parents who are listening are going to laugh, age 7 to 14 is the age of discipline. ये टीनेज साल होते हैं. इसमें ये होता है ज़्यादातर कि जो सी रूल्स और रेगुलेशंस आप चाहते हैं, द रूल्स आप चाहते हैं कि सेटअप हो जाए, इस वक्त डिसिप्लिन का वक्त होता है. एंड दैट्स व्हाई Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam called this stage the 7 years between 7 to 14 as the age of the slave. This is called disciplining, right? और जोन सा last जोन सा section आता है, that is ages 14 to 21. So that is the age where in Western psychology and also in some of the hadiths as well, it's called your child उस वक्त at that point becomes your friend. Not your real friend as in the way you would treat your friends, but the way you would communicate and the way that you would try and help your child would be in the most friendly manners, because you've done all your disciplining, the rules are all in place, and now all the doors of communication and all the doors of friendship are open. That is the age where he or her develops the best and good character, and also that is probably said in Islam the best age to get your child married, between those ages. We will be doing a topic. I've been asked by a lot of people, please can you do a topic on love and marriage, both on the love aspect within Islam, and I will do that because it's very much connected with parenting, because Islam says that parenting actually begins before you get married, which is basically that जब आप कोई अपना partner तलाश कर रहे हैं, आपने ये सोचना होगा कि ये लड़का या ये लड़की in the end is going to be the mother or father of my children. और उस वक्त आपको सोचना पड़ेगा, even though उस वक्त बंदा उस situation में होता है कि बंदा सोचता होता है कि no, I'm actually, in the idea of like I want to get married to this person, उस वक्त parenting का नहीं सोच रहा होता, but it's very important to think of that. So we will cover that at a later date. But today we have so much to cover, because one of the most important issues is, why am I looking at the human brain? मतलब है दिमाग का क्या importance है इस parenting के मामले में. And now I was lucky in my parenting of my daughter, because I discovered quite early on, before my daughter became a teenager, that the science of Islam, what Islam had discovered about the brain, the Western scientists have also discovered that. And once you kind of understand this, then अपने बच्चों को और generally even अपने आप को भी बंदा अच्छी तरह समझ सकता है. Now I want to quote you a quote from Quran, chapter 96, verses 15 to 16. And please, anybody who's watching, please do comment. This is a live broadcast, so that you can all come in and comment and let me know, what do you think? What are your issues about parenting? What do you think is important? So please comment. I will read out your comments in the live broadcast, and tell me if you've got any questions. If I can answer them straight away, I will do so. But let us go back first to what Allah the Almighty says regarding the human brain. Nay, if he does not cease, we shall pull him down by his forelock, a lying, sinful forelock. Now, this is really, really important. When I discovered this ayah and I started researching about this, what I discovered was that this actually, the lying, cheating forelock, is mentioned in the Quran actually 1400 years ago. And the importance of this is really, really important, because actually this comes into play regarding human beings in general, but also in particular for children, because the brain has this front lobe. Now, I'm not going to go into deep science, but let's just accept this कि जो सा माथा है, जो सा अगला जो सा पार्ट है, जो सा हम सजदे में आगे लगाते हैं, उसके directly पीछे is the prefrontal cortex. What is the importance of the prefrontal cortex? Well, the importance of the prefrontal cortex is that actually it is the part which, अगर आप कह सकते हैं कि if you think of like a company which has a chief executive officer, your prefrontal cortex, ये जो सा दिमाग का जो सा ये पार्ट है, जो सा cortex को कहते हैं, ये सब कुछ मैनेज करता है. The prefrontal cortex is in charge basically. The prefrontal cortex is the part that it not only does it basically organize your behavior and speech and your reasoning, मतलब है तुम्हारी अकल, तुम्हारी rationality, तुम्हारे सारे cognitive functions, memory and everything. It actually deals with also the emotional side of things. अब ये क्यों important है? Why is it, and why is the prefrontal cortex connected with all the other parts of the body, and why is it important for parenting? Well, the main thing that what I discovered was that ये जो सा part है दिमाग का, ये fully develop नहीं होता. It does not develop fully until the age of 21. Now that is directly in line with what Islam says about parenting. They're saying that at the age of 21, you have basically done all your duties as a parent and the child is fully developed now as an adult. So why is this relevant? It is relevant because अगर हम सही मैंने से सोचें, हम कोशिश करते हैं सारी उम्र के बच्चों को हम सही तालीम दें, हम सही उनको ऑर्गेनाइज करें, पर हमने क्या करना है, and a lot of the western psychologists are saying this as well, हमने क्या करना है कि हम जो से पेरेंट्स हैं, हमने अपने बच्चों के प्री फ्रंटल कॉर्टेक्स मतलब है उसका दिमाग हमने दिमाग यूज़ करना है बेसिकली, राइट. सो फर्स्ट जो सा पॉइंट है, जब वो बिल्कुल छोटे होते हैं बिटवीन एज 0 to 7, बिल्कुल हम इंचार्ज हैं, हमने सब कुछ उनके लिए डिसाइड करना है. जब वो 7 to 14 की एज में आते हैं, that is when सबसे ज़्यादा difficulty होती है with the prefrontal cortex, because the hormones start affecting the brain the most at that point in time. And this is why they say that teenagers basically teenagers really they struggle emotionally, and teenagers also struggle with long term, मतलब long term की सोच उनकी नहीं हो सकती इसलिए कि उनका वो part of दिमाग develop नहीं हुआ. अगर हम इस बात को समझ सकते हैं अच्छी तरह कि उनका ये पार्ट ऑफ दिमाग सही तरह डेवलप नहीं हुआ हुआ, then that will really help us in parenting. The way it will help us is that the things that we need to do is हम ये understand कर सकेंगे कि इनकी क्या emotions हैं, इस वक्त उनकी क्या feelings हैं. Because I watched a BBC program. It was all about children and their intensity of their emotions. For example, when we go, say we're all planning a holiday as a family, if you ask like Muhammad Ali, for example, who is just about to be 7 years old, he will be super excited because the age of a child at that point in time, excitement is very big. All the emotions are like 10 times intense. When you get to age 7 to 14, if we're all going holiday, for example, or you have a teenager, the emotions and the feelings जो एक टीनेजर की होती हैं is like 10 to 12 times stronger. अगर हम ये बात समझ सकते हैं, then we can also apply this to other things that are happening in their lives. For example, when they have friendship issues at school, when they have self-esteem issues, when they're worried about the way that they look, when our children come to us about things, we can understand and we can communicate with them and tell them it's okay. I do understand. It is important to you because हमारे लिए उस वक्त हमारा तो time गुजर गया होता है. We've been there, done that. But we need to always put ourselves in the situation of the child, and the more we do that, the more successful we will be in parenting. Now, I'm just going to read you a little bit from this book that I've been referring to, The Chimp Paradox. The reason why I really like this book, and I'm only going to read a little bit of it, is that this book, The Chimp Paradox, The Mind Management, A Program for Confidence, Success and Happiness, by Professor Steve Peters. I'll put the link for this book down below once I've finished the live. I really discovered this as a great way of understanding it from an Islamic point of view, because the way it explains this, it basically says कि हमारा जोन सा what they might call the monkey mind, उसको कहते हैं हमारा, in Islam you would call it your nafs. Basically your nafs is there designed, nafs का क्या मकसद है, उसमें सारे desires होते हैं, it has all the what would you call it? You would call it the lower base physiological needs हमें जिंदा रहने के लिए. It's got all those things in it going on. And so the thing is with the nafs, if we do not take care of the nafs needs as well, the nafs gets in a panic. The other part of us is our higher self, the part that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what makes us unique, which is part of our brain, which I love, which is so unique, is that we are unique because of our brain, because of this prefrontal cortex, because of the human brain. We are क्या कहते हैं, ashraful makhluk, we are the highest species to roam earth, and the reason why being given is because of our brain. If we can harness the power of our brain, अगर हम इस अपने दिमाग को समझ सकते हैं, this is a path to success. So this is a path not just for parenting, but this is a path to success for all of us, inshallah, if we can understand this. So इसमें क्या होता है, वो basically the way the book has explained it is that the human is like basically us, really, our soul and our real person who we are. The chimp is the like जो सा monkey है, basically our monkey mind, वो हमारा nafs type of part है हमारा, right? तो इन दोनों चीज़ों के agenda बिल्कुल अलग है, right? The purpose and agenda of the chimp मतलब है monkey mind nafs का कि हम survive करें, कि हम जिंदा रहें. But the human part, हमारा जो सा real, जो सा हम really हैं, और हमारा जो सा agenda is to achieve self-fulfillment. Self-fulfillment किस तरह के हम अपना ईमान, हम अपनी आखिरत का भी हमने ख्याल रखना है, हमें खाली जिंदा नहीं रहना. So जब हम अपने इस part का ख्याल रखते हैं, human part का, this is about becoming the person you want to be. Now you want that for your children as well, isn't it? And achieving the things that you want to achieve. So the human हर वक्त will be searching for the meaning of life, and for Muslims we know what is the meaning of life. It's an imtihan and a test for us to get to the akhirat, right? So the human हम कह सकते हैं is our real spirit, but हम क्या कर सकते हैं? We have this chimp, we have this nafs attached to us. How do we deal with it? Well, this book is really, really good explaining कि जब इसका agenda अलग है, we see that the human, the chimp part, वो क्या करता है, is basically not very logical. It's like a बच्चा, it's irrational, right? Chimp is very emotional. ये जो हम सारों के पास ये part है, and it's like a बच्चा, and what we have to understand is our kids are like this, and the inner child inside ourselves is like this as well. So what does, think back to like your children or yourself as a child. You jump to an opinion very quickly. You think in black and white. Everything is just बस ये right है या वो right है. There's no in between. The chimp is kind of like paranoid. वो हर वक्त सोचता है, ooh, someone's against me, someone's thinking this. The chimp is very catastrophic. He thinks very irrational, is very emotional, right? So the reason why I'm explaining this is because we should not, हमें इस part of the part of our children and the part of ourselves that is our nafs, we need to find a way of helping that part and calming. जैसे एक बच्चे को हम calm down करते हैं, in the same way inside ourselves, our inner child, हमारा nafs, और also हमारे बच्चों के nafs, हमने उनको calm down करना है so that they agree, ताकि वो part हमारा agree करे हमारे ईमान के साथ, and then once they both agree, then दिमाग काम करने लग जाएगा. Now another part where it's really, really relevant, this part of the human brain, is the fact that when we read namaz and when we start our children early, so we should be starting them way before 7, and then they should be getting proper training between 7 and 10. By the time they are 10 years old, inshallah, your children will be reading namaz so easily and fluidly, like it's second nature, the way they brush their teeth every day. So the thing is, we should not be afraid of instilling these habits in them. We shouldn't do a lot of people suffer from this. Oh, they've got studying to do, they've got comfortable. But believe me, if you start them off early, you will really find success at the end, because the namaz itself, think about it logically now, the sajda that we do, what are we doing? We are putting, as we put our forehead, this part, the prefrontal cortex, on the ground in sajda, not are we only in humility to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and being in obedience to Him, but physically as well, the blood is going to that part of the brain, and the more blood flow that you have towards the prefrontal cortex, to that part of the brain, the more that part of the brain will function properly. And believe me, I have done so much research on this before I could talk about this, but I will want to move on to the next part, which people will want to know about, some tips about parenting. But so much research about the prefrontal cortex, because they have looked at, the scientists have looked at prefrontal cortex of psychotic people or people who are sociopaths and psychopaths, and they have discovered that that part of their brain, the prefrontal cortex, is not fully developed. And this is what my focus is on this particular session, कि हमने क्या करना है, कि we need to do everything as much as possible to develop that part of the brain, of the children's brain, the prefrontal cortex. This will be through namaz, but it will also be through rational discussion, communication, and understanding about these parts of the body. So anybody who's got any comments, please do comment and let me know. If you've got any more questions about prefrontal cortex, I will be happy to explain. So what is the responsibility of the parents in parenting? Well, as Muslims, it is important to understand the significance and responsibility of the parenting role. This is इसलिए लोग बहुत परेशान हैं, because actually the parenting role is very key. ये हमारे आगे की generation है. These are the future Muslims, and people are परेशान because the environment, once again, I'm always saying that it's the environment, whether you're in a non-Muslim country or you're in a Muslim country, I can assure you the environment is a huge struggle in adopting this parenting role, and it is getting more and more difficult. The reason why it's becoming more and more difficult is because the environment is constantly changing, and now with the advent of social media in the last 10 years and the way that we communicate, it's becoming even more and more difficult. Now, I don't know if anybody's seen, but on my YouTube channel, please go and look at it if you get a chance. It's Seema Khan Life Vlogs on YouTube. So same as this Facebook. I have got a parenting seminar that I went to a few months ago, and it was really good. The Sheikh was Sheikh Abdul Jabbar from Medina. He's a scholar there at Masjid al-Nabawi. And what I was, I asked a few questions, but what really surprised me the most was that he was saying, I have 6 children, he said, and the thing that I find the toughest is not my job that I'm doing, but जो सा सबसे मुश्किल मुझे जो लगता है, this is the Sheikh. This is a Sheikh from Masjid Nabi who's got so much knowledge and so much talim. He says the small, middle, and bade bacche, in सारों की, he says the children of Medina, my own bacche, he says, have the same issues and problems as the children of London, as the children of Pakistan. We all have the same issues, and if you think about it, we have the same issues of, if you understand human beings, human beings are the only ones, and I discovered this a while ago, I was really shocked, जिनका दिमाग develop नहीं हुआ पर जिनकी bodies develop हुई है. So a young girl age 13, 14, her body is completely ready for marriage, for having children, for everything, but her mind her prefrontal cortex, her brain is not developed. The science says it takes between ages 21 to 25. I hope it doesn't take your children that long. I hope usually in the last few years up till the age of 21, the prefrontal cortex does develop. So there is hope. But what are our responsibilities and how can we ada them? How can we look after our children? The importance of preparing children for the hereafter and the obligation of protecting them from the hellfire. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, O you who believe, protect yourselves and your families from a fire whose fuel is people and stones, over which are appointed angels, harsh and severe. सो इसका ये मीनिंग है कि हमारी ड्यूटी है, हमारा काम है कि हम अपने बच्चों का ख्याल रखें, हमारी पूरी फैमिली का ख्याल रखें. And what are the things, responsibility? Do not forget that the parents in relation to the fitra, the bachcha is born bilkul innocent, right? We have to accept this. All forms of corruption are going to be avoided if the parents can get handle on the environment. So we will be doing more lectures. This is why it's part 1, and it's about the human brain, because we will be looking at the responsibility of parents. We will be looking at the fact that children are a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your Quran chapter 8 verse 28. And know that your properties and your children are but a trial, and that Allah has with him a great reward. So do not worry, this this world is a test. Through Islam, we can, inshallah, get the right balance of parenting. And what we do need to always remember is that there is a middle path. There, a lot of parents are here, oh, I just want to give up, I just don't know how to control the usage of the phone. I don't know how to control, if they're just not listening to me. Remember, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam managed to bring up children, adopted children, the wider Sahaba. He did not raise his voice once. He did not need to beat or hit a child, and he managed to do that. He is our role model of parenting, and we will go through each step by step. But the main thing that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to understand ourselves and our children and how we operate. And then what we will do is we will enhance their Islamic personality. Everything that we do as a parent will be to enhance their Islamic personality and build their self-esteem. We will do a whole chapter on self-concept and self-esteem, because this is a big issue for all children of all ages nowadays. But what I would like to leave you with is, what are the tips that we can do? Well, one thing is that we should remember that our children, each of them, we should not be living our lives. If we wanted to be a doctor and our child does not want to be a doctor, oh no, tumne doctor must banna hai, ya tumne hafiz must banna hai, or tumne ye must. No, our children are born unique with personality traits. उनकी अपनी रूह है. They are on loan to us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are allowed to grow. We have to love our children abundantly. We should show so much affection to our children. I cannot tell you how many examples of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was so kind, respectful, even, and affectionate towards children. We need to communicate with our children. Less time in front of the television and more time building a real relationship with our children. Frequent communication, that is the critical element, and we have to always be ready with the listening ear. We should praise our children for good behavior, because children respond very, very well to praise and positive attention. We should give them praise and respect in front of others. This is very, very important for building self-esteem. And there's a really common thing in our culture as well, in Indian subcontinent, it happens here as well, is that we often say things that shame and humiliate. We should avoid humiliating or shaming. This is one of the key reasons why children develop this sense of low self-esteem. Their ideas shouldn't be ridiculed or ostracized. Now I'm just going to leave you with a tiny little story. Anas narrated, I served the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam for 10 years, and he never said to me oof, and never blamed me by saying, why did you do that? Or why didn't you do that? So I'll leave you with that quote. This is a compelling illustration of the kind of treatment that we need to have towards children, neither impatience nor negative commentary. You know, admit it, guys, there are some parents, including myself, we cannot be with our children for 5 minutes. We find some way to blame them for something that happened in the day or start shouting them. So there is a lot of work to be done, and the first starting point is understanding what is our responsibility as parents. Where are the problems coming, which is not the proper development of the brain. Once we understand the human brain, we can then understand how we can nurture that brain through salah, through nurturing Iman in our children, by bringing everything back, by consulting them, and actually, as they get older, giving them more and more responsibility so that inshallah they will grow up to be beautiful, imandar human beings. So, thank you everybody who has joined in today. Thank you for listening to me. You have been listening to Seema Khan. Seema Khan on Seema Khan Life Logs. This was a live broadcast from London on a very rainy day. It has rained for 5 hours to 6 hours straight last night. Um, I was all right because I felt right at home because I'm a girl from Glasgow. But let me know what is the weather like where you are. Pop a comment down, pop your questions down. It's been really lovely to have you all tuning in. Thank you everybody who's tuned in. You have been listening to Seema Khan on Seema Khan Life Logs. Fi aman Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.